Fat Sauce 45, very unique nickname. 23 likes on my community post, said Nebraska goes 10-2 and makes the 12-team playoff. My initial reaction to that is probably I would say 4.5. Mainly because I actually do kind of find it hard to see a 10-2 Nebraska making the playoff. I feel like they'd have to be 11-1 to lock that down. And I do have a hard time also seeing them go 10-2, although it's possible. I'd say 4.5. What do you think about that? And then we can give a little more analysis after.
I mean, it's possible. Like all things are possible, but when it comes to Nebraska going 10-2 right after this 5-7 year, I love this Nebraska roster. I really do. And I love what Matt Rhule is doing. But with every Nebraska fan out there and everyone that has Nebraska doing good things, you just have to put that, just look at the last 10 years of Nebraska. Every single year, someone big, be it Josh Pate, Joel Klatt, anyone out there, Nebraska's going 10-2,
Myself,
2021. Yeah,
2022, I picked him to um, win the West and for Scott Frost to be coach of the year. And then week 3, I'm watching Clay Helton like moon the
that was
entire
painful.
yeah
That was
moon the
painful to
entire
watch.
fan base with like just killing this defense that the previous year was good. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, you're letting Kyle Van Treese make your
Oh my
defense
goodness.
look like a paper mache bomb shelter. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that game was ridiculous. It really was.
So
So
toxic.
when I go to Nebraska fans or people that really like Nebraska, I just have to tell them, look at the past 10 years and look at the disappointment that you have gone through. And do you really expect that to change overnight like a 10-2 season would? I mean, if they went 10-2, that's an overnight change, especially from 5-7. Now with their schedule, feasibly, and Nebraska's roster right now is very good, and I love their defense. What I love especially about their defense is that they rotate guys in. I think they had the most guys rotated on their defense. They had insane. I mean, every other series, it's a new set of guys coming in. Um, so I love how they do that, and you can't not unsee what Dylan Rayola did in the spring game either. So on paper, 10 wins, it could be there. It could be there. I mean, they'll be favored in every game up until the Ohio State game,
Yes.
unless if they lose to UTEP, they'll probably. I mean, and nothing is impossible with Nebraska, at least in recent memory, at least. But presumably they'll be favored in every game going into the Ohio State game. They will drop that one. It's at Ohio State. Let's concede that. But then past that, USC is a liability. I can concede that. UCLA at home. They get Wisconsin at home.
That'll
And then
still be
finishing up
tough. Wisconsin matches
Wisconsin.
up very well with Nebraska.
That's going to be a very interesting game to watch. Very good dynamic there. I love that game. Just early here, and then at Iowa, their rival here. So is 10 wins on paper feasible? Yes, yes, it is. But will it happen? Especially given recent history, I wouldn't bet on it. I don't. I
Yeah.
really don't. I really wouldn't.
I predicted them to go 7-5 in my regular season. And to give you all a hint, because my Big Ten predictions video, the updated one, will probably be out in like 2 weeks. I didn't just give them an extra win. I gave them like an extra few. You'll just have to wait and see if it's double digit or not. They really impressed me in the spring game. And some other teams that were on their schedule, conference and non-conference, didn't necessarily. So that changed the dynamic.
Oh, that's true.
But
And
I think that this is bold because there are areas where they're just not ready. And
oh yeah,
they don't have a Rutgers schedule, not just because of Ohio State, but because of how USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa are all sandwiched together in a 3-game slate. Whereas Wisconsin has, not Wisconsin, but Rutgers has at Nebraska and Wisconsin, but then UCLA at home will probably be much more of an easy win than, let's say, you line up like obviously Penn State at home or Iowa at home, and then you play it at USC. And Nebraska too. I don't know. I mean, part of it is me being conservative because it's them and Minnesota are the two Big Ten teams. Oh no, Wisconsin every year except for 2022 that I've overrated year after year after year.
Oh
Um,
yeah. And
I,
everyone's done it too. Everyone looks at the roster on paper and is like, "This roster, man. If Scott Frost can get this right, if you go back further, if Mike Riley can get this right,
yes,
you Nebraska doesn't have a problem with rosters, with everything like that. It's really been the coaching and the execution these past
yes,
couple of years. It really has been, and that's you can't just ignore that either when
no,
it comes to this. And even last year, you can say, "Oh, Matt Rhule's going to change that." They they lost 3 games or 4 games by 3 points, something like that. All caused by the quarterback. But then someone could argue they just got Dylan Rayola, and Dylan Rayola looks like God. So, I mean,
yeah. It was coaching. If they kept Casey Thompson over Jeff Sims, they go bowling or maybe even win the Big Ten West. That was a huge coaching error made. I mean, Kaliak Manis was throwing it 50 times against Nebraska. They had no business losing that game, and
I
here
mean,
they are just
yeah,
surrendering it in the end zone or at the 50-yard line, or losing to Michigan State and making Caton Hauser look good,
the
or
Maryland
losing
game,
to Maryland like in this,
that was
yeah,
crazy.
13-10 to a Maryland team that has little to no defense, or losing to Iowa the way they did, or Wisconsin, or even Colorado. I mean, that was Colorado's biggest and best win.
And you go
And
back to that Colorado game too. That was a game. I mean, even with Jeff Sims fumbling snaps left and right, it was still a game. Like I think the halftime score was like 10-3, something like that. It was lower. I know that Colorado was up by 7 to 10 points, and it was like one or two busted plays because the defense can't play 110 snaps out there.
no,
I mean, it was like every time the offense got the ball, they'd just throw it back at Colorado's feet, and Colorado would get the ball, and then here comes the defense out there, and they would hold them to 3 and out, or and that you can't expect your defense to do that all the time. You have
no,
to let your defense rest, man. Anyway,
exactly. Yeah, I would lower this to a 3.5, 4. Actually, I'm not gonna go 4.5, just because I could see 10-2. I think the absolute ceiling, like if everything goes properly, and this is extreme as all of my absolute ceilings would be, same with floors, is like 11-1. But I'd say 8-4, 9-3, like 7-5, 10-2, like that 4 game stretch is probably the most likely, and anything lower or higher than that would, by my opinion, be probably an outlier based off of the spring game and everything. So
I I think if you're gonna make a conservative pick, I say they would split the Colorado and Rutgers game, so they go into that Ohio State game 6-1, and then I think they'll beat UCLA. And I think if you're going to be conservative, you would pick them to win one out of their last 3 at USC versus Wisconsin at Iowa, and that puts you at 8.
yeah,
Like,
that
and that's a conservative pick there.
yeah, which shows that this is possible. Thank you so much for watching this episode of College Football with Sam. I appreciate it. And I would appreciate it even more if you were to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this video down below, hit that big red subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so that your phone, laptop, or whatever device you use can ding or buzz whenever I release new content and notify you about it so that you can watch more videos like this. College Football with Sam is the best Big Ten football channel on YouTube. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we hit 20,000 subscribers, and we're trying to become one of the best, if not the best, college football channels on YouTube. Your support means so much, and to those of you who are subscribed to my Patreon or purchase merchandise from my store, the links to those are down in the description and pinned comment. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. Thanks to Crash2488 for being a Heisman member. Thanks to Spencer Bringhurst, Chris Lane, and Connor Little OH for being All-American members. And thanks to Will Loftus, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrell for being All-Conference members. Have a great day, guys, and if you're listening on Spotify or any non-YouTube podcast platform, please check the link in the channel description to find my YouTube channel. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to check out my Spotify, if you so please. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.